Right, so Alex Alley, that's me. I'm a professional sailor. I race yachts for a living. It's a bit of an unusual job, and Ipswich isn't a real centre of yachting, but just a quick show of hands. Anyone's done any sailing before? I know I have. Great, that's all around here, is it? Local or further afield? Great stuff. What I'd like to do today is just tell you a little bit about my next race, my next campaign, about the boats I'm going to be racing, and then tell you a little bit about the funding behind it. Because it's called the Global Ocean Race. It's a round-the-world race for 2 crew on each boat. So 40-foot long boats. The boats are about as long as this room. There's just 2 of us on it. It's 33,000 miles. It's going to take us 8 months. And it's a big race, international race. There's about 20 boats entered. And we're going to be starting in France. And the first leg of the race is about 5,500 miles. There's a little mark off of Brazil we have to go around, the imaginary mark called a waypoint. So we go around there, and our first stop's in Cape Town. It's about 5 weeks, so a bit of a baptism of fire straight in there. The next leg from Cape Town into the Southern Ocean, where a lot of that footage was filmed. Okay, now that race, the boats were 72 feet long. There was 18 crew on the boats, and they weighed about 40 tons. It's a lot of hands, a lot of people on the boat, big, heavy boats. When I go down there next year, the boats are 40 feet long, like I said. There's just 2 of us on there, and the boats weigh 4.5 tons. So they're very, very light and about twice as fast, and I've got some footage of them later on. So from Wellington, we're back into the Southern Ocean, and it's then round Cape Horn, which is the little bit at the bottom of South America, which is where a lot of the fun is, believe me, into Punta del Este, and then from Punta del Este, we're back across the equator in the Atlantic, back up to Charleston in the States. That's one of our shorter legs, it's about 4 weeks. And then from there, it's back to the finish in France, a mere 3,000-mile sprint. It's going to take about 2.5 weeks. Okay, so that's the race itself, or the route we're going to be taking. And these are the boats we're going to be racing. They're very, very lightweight. They're designed with one purpose in mind. They are Grand Prix race machines. There's nothing inside them, and they're built for speed. They're very, very light. They're 40 feet long. They're 4.5 meters wide, and they're 3 meters to the bottom of the keel, which is a lot more than a normal sort of racing boat that you'd get. This is a picture of us coming into the Azores last year. It was a race we did from France to the Azores. We came 4th, which was all right out of 25, but it was the first time we'd been on the boat. So we were quite pleased with a 4th place. But we were unsponsored at this point, and there's a big blank canvas there that you could put a lot of sponsor logos on. But the boats have got to be pretty rigorously tested. This is a self-righting test that all the boats have to go through. So this is in the factory in Tunisia where the boats are built. So the crane comes along, they put a strop under the keel, and they crank the boat to 90 degrees, and then let go and make sure the boat comes upright in a specified amount of time. All the boats have to go through this safety test. And having seen some of the footage of places we're going to be sailing, safety is obviously quite a high priority. Inside the boats, there is literally nothing inside these boats. They are completely stripped out. That is it inside. That's finished. That's not halfway through built. That is it finished. You've got batteries in the middle. That's the bottom of the mast you can see coming down there. And those fiberglass shelves you see, that's where we would sleep. There's no beds as such. There's no cushions. There is a toilet. There's no shower. There's a little sink that we have put in and a single burner cooker. And that's all the luxury we have. It's just a racing machine. So to run the campaign properly, it's going to cost about £400,000 sterling. But ideally, we need about 600,000 to really fund it properly. And this is the sort of equipment list that's on the boat. So the boat itself obviously is going to cost a lot of money, and the sails alone are about £60,000. So this £400,000 will soon get swallowed up, just funding and building and buying all the kit for the boat. And this is what they're like when they're all up and running. Moment of truth. Now, this is us racing back from the Azores last August, and we're averaging about 20 knots here. So if anyone's done any sailing, that's pretty quick. That's not hanging around. And we were doing this for 3 days, day and night, solid. And it was real seat of the pants, hang on, and away you go. And a very wet ride, very wet, wild ride. We had a big low-pressure system coming up behind us that was following us. So we just made sure we stayed in front of that for as long as we could. And we were sort of surfing in front of this weather pattern like I said, for 3 days. We were clocking 320, 330 miles a day. And at times we were averaging well over 20 knots. The bottom figure there, you can see that 22.4, 22.0, that's our boat speed. Okay, most boats sail around at about 7, 8, 9 knots. So we are not hanging around at this point. But it's fantastically exhilarating.